But first, I would like to say it's always great to be back in Jakarta, in the new Indonesia that has progressed impressively since the difficult years of 1997 and 2001, gaining status as a regional and global leader. But before I continue, I would like also to introduce to you our new ambassador to Indonesia, Carlos Alberto. He was a deputy foreign minister. He worked also with the United Nations, UNHCR in Sudan, and in Guinea-Bissau, managing a Timor-Leste development agency there. He is married to a beautiful lady from Solo. Our former foreign minister also married to a beautiful lady from Solo. And tomorrow I'm also going to Solo. I'm talking tomorrow, I'm going to New York. And the ambassador of Italy, I just met, I don't know whether, I think he's also new here, just arrived. And I first came to Jakarta, for those of you who might not know, in June 1974, during the Suharto and Benny Mudani era. I traveled around Jakarta on the back of a scooter, driven by a friend, Hari Kavilar, journalist with Sinar Harapan. And on Bag.1, I stayed in a lodgement where I paid less than $10 a day. But it was very comfortable, pleasant place. Probably already destroyed. It did not survive the modern office buildings and the 5 hotel stars that had been built since. It was in that first venture into Jakarta, not so long after the tumultuous years of 65-66, that I met the first ever Indonesian intellectual and journalist who supported independence for the then Portuguese Timor, a man of courage. He was George Adijondo, writer at Tempo magazine, a great magazine that in June 74 put me on the cover of the magazine. I also met with Pak Mat Adamalik and General Ali Murtopo, two very different people. One a charming, open-minded diplomat, the other an anti-communist cold warrior. Pak Malik was open-minded about the independence of Portuguese Timor. General Murtopo was totally against it. This is now history. The world changed forever, mostly for good, and Indonesia also changed, hopefully forever and for good. The main architects of Indonesia's 1975 Timor policy passed away in God's judgment. But too many Indonesians are uninformed or misinformed or are in denial about the tragic chapter of their history of connection with Timor. But everywhere, anywhere, societies should always learn about the past with courage to face the honest, unfiltered, unadulterated truth, even when the truth is too painful. 70 years ago, Europe was engulfed in the most devastating war that the world had ever witnessed. And that war, their war, and I underline their war, brought to the shores of far-flung countries, causing destruction and death. After the war, great statesmen like Konrad Adenauer, Willy Brandt, Richard von Weizsäcker led Germans to confront their history with courage accepting the heavy burden of their collective responsibility. Their nation atoned for the crimes committed by the Third Reich, and from the ashes of the war, Europe emerged more united and stronger. Peace and freedom coexist, evolve, mature, and consolidate together. Conflicts arise and peace is broken when freedom is denied to people, whether to a nation as a whole or a particular ethnic or religious group. And what is freedom? Freedom of belief and of practicing one belief, freedom of thought and of public expression of our thoughts, academic and intellectual freedom to explore and question policies and laws, to criticize and challenge beliefs, whether these beliefs are religious or secular, old and modern. Indonesians and people in Asia were once colonized do understand what freedom and peace mean. Much of Asia was once conquered and colonized. They fought and prevailed from South Asia to Southeast Asia, freeing themselves from European colonial domination, and later in the 20th century, Asians fought and died for freedom from Japanese aggression. Asians fought and died in the so-called French Indochina, and soon after they died in the American wars on Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. But not long after the colonial era, new forms of tyranny were imposed on Asians through either communist totalitarian regime or through right-wing military regimes, both suppressing freedom and inviting reaction and war. Timor-Leste is the youngest independent country in Asia, only 15 years old since restoration of independence. Challenges and failures are evident, but we have made progress that make us reasonably content. At independence in 2002, life expectancy at birth in Timor-Leste was 57 years, and now it is 67. In 2002, there were 19